So, one more race left to go here at Anglesey. As mentioned, it is the second race of the weekend for the Modified Ford Series, who've been a fantastic addition to the BRSCC roster since they joined over the winter. And after their brilliant first race earlier on, which saw that fantastic back and forth battle between Piers Grange in the Mark II Ford Escort and the Ford Escort RS Cosworth of Dave Cockell, it now means we get the grid formed as a result of the race number one. So it's Piers Grange in the Mark II Escort on pole, with Dave Cockell in the Escort Cosworth alongside him on the front row. That's Ashley Shelswell in the Sierra XR4i and Daz Owen in the Mark I RSR Escort on the second row of the grid. Paul Neville's RS2000 Escort and Stuart Day's Escort Cosworth on the third row. For Andy Pipe's Mark I Escort, and it's John Edwards Parton in his Fiesta XR2. Malcolm Wise will start ninth in his Escort Cosworth. Kevin Hadfield will be in his Ford Puma, his 10th. Jimmy Near Fights, who starts 11th, in front of Dave Barrett's Fiesta. It's Ollie Allen's Fiesta, hopefully, be on the grid. And fingers crossed, we also have the more modified Puma of Mark Hadfield, which had a mechanical issue in qualifying, actually had to be towed back to the pits and didn't take the start in race one. So hopefully we've got 14 Fiesta of modified Fords out there, and not any less, because it'd be a shame we have any cars missing on the grid. So this series is pretty much seen as the place to race for all Fords. They're having a second formation lap, as it's a rolling start for these cars. And they we had their first proper go as a series last year in 2020, 2019, started building the grids, and they joined BRSCC for 2021 as an associated series. And so it brings a fantastic variety of machines to series, and it is essentially for all kinds of modified Fords, Ford models from I think 2011 and younger. And it means that though you keep some of the proper old school 90s and noughties and older machines in circulation, and it gives them all a place to race if they're a Ford, and regardless of if it's a Fiesta, an Escort, a Sierra, or if it's even a Ford Puma, even a Mustang in the field as well, amongst others, and even a Ford RS200, which was one of the cars of the weekend at Donington Park back in May when these guys first debuted on a BRSCC timetable. And Wayne Crabtree's car, which has a Subaru engine in the back of it, I think got second in the first race and won the first race and came second in the second race, mainly because Dave Cockell's rocket-propelled Ford Escort RS Cosworth not only it was leading comfortably in the first race before he had a gear stick problem, and then had to charge through from the back of the field to the lead, and did so in about roughly 8 or 9 minutes, which is quite extraordinary given that it's a 15-minute race. So the cars will then start to form up behind the RunYourFleet.com Jaguar XF Sport Brake safety car. Thank you once again to RunYourFleet.com for all their support for BRSCC. They are the place to go for all your corporate business fleet vehicle management needs. You check their website out at RunYourFleet.com, and also check them out on social media too. The safety car heads in. Everyone starts to form a 2x2. It looks like suddenly we don't have Ollie Allen's Fiesta or the Mark Hadfield Puma, so we have just the selection of cars that are left over, the 12 cars that are left here to take to the start. And so Piers Grange and Dave Cockell brings the pack around onto the pit straight to bring our final race of the weekend, the second modified Ford race of the day, underway. The lights will go out any second now, and the race is underway. Decent start, jumping out from the inside of the second row is Ashley Shelswell into the first corner. It looks like around the outside, surely with the four-wheel drive advantage, will go Dave Cockell past Piers Grange, and into the banking they go. Shelswell's on the attack as they come back into the mix. And Paul Neville's car's gone off the road. I wonder why the camera's panning left, and that's the reason why. Paul Neville's car's gone around on the exit of turn one. Meanwhile, as expected, it is the four-wheel drive Escort Cosworth of Dave Cockell who has put his foot down and is absolutely charging away at this early stage. A spit of flame as he goes up the gears. But second place now for Piers Grange. Third for Shelswell is then Stuart Day's Escort Cosworth in fourth. That's Owen is fifth in his RSR 2000 RSR Mark I with the big rear wing on the back. Up to the top of the circuit and running wide up at the complex rocket is Piers Grange. Now trying to take advantage. Around the outside goes the V6 engine Sierra of Ashley Shelswell, and also now trying to get the power down with the four-wheel drive, as you'd anticipate, is Stuart Day. He looks up the inside, and Piers Grange, after starting on pole, half a lap later is down to fourth. So he's got some work to do to try and get back here, but Stuart Day will certainly be relishing the fact that it is certainly escort Cosworth conditions. Dazo in there in 5th. Andy Pipes up to 6th in his Mark 1. There's Malcolm Wise, there's Jimmy Near-Fighter in his cross-flow engine Mark 1 Fiesta. There's Kevin Hadfield in his modified Puma. Sadly, we haven't got the other one out for Mark. It looks like something out of Pikes Peak, which is quite extraordinary. Great big sort of touring car style wide body kit on a big front splitter on that white Puma, but shame we haven't got that out there. We did see it in qualifying, but as we mentioned, mechanical problems have sadly sidelined it for the rest of the day, so not in the race, I'm afraid. Down towards the end of lap number 1 then, and it is going to be Dave Cockell, who leads the way now from... it will be Ashley Shellswell in 2nd place, and then it's Stuart Day in 3rd. Dropped down to 4th is the Piers Grange car, but now he's on the threat from the previous generation Mark 1 Escort. There is 2nd and 3rd going through the shot, with Stuart Day trying to make his way onto the tail of Shellswell's V6 car. Oh, and Andy Pipes' car, I'm afraid, has had an engine failure. There's smoke billowing from the back of the Mark 1 Escort. That's a real shame. Had such a decent race in race number 1, and now he's pulling away such an immaculately prepared Escort, and it's such a shame to see it in a cloud of smoke by the side of the circuit. There goes John Edwards Parton and his rather rapid and loud Ford Escort XR2. With this sort of almost Alan Hawkins inspired jigsaw livery on that car. So that car just turning its way now out of the Rocket Complex and up towards the right-hander here at Peel. As the cars in front now see Piers Grange ahead of that. Oh, and that's Jimmy Near-Fighter as well. Jimmy Near-Fighter having a grand race so far. He's passed Malcolm Wise. This is a cross-flow engine Mark 1 Fiesta. And look, it hasn't got some mumbo in a straight line. It's brilliant. Unfortunately, the car that hasn't got any mumbo at the moment is Andy Pipes' Fiesta, who looks out the back and thinks, right, what on earth went wrong there? He's taken the steering wheel off as well. That might well, given the fact he's there checking it over, he might be well inside the grass, but it might possibly prompt a safety car because he might be told to get to safety, I think. Malcolm Wise is going to try and get some better traction off the exit of the hairpin, which he does. And not only charges past Jimmy Near-Fighter's car, but then also had to think about getting past Daz Owen. But Near-Fighter goes back round the outside and just lifts the inside wheel. It's a bit of a tease to Malcolm Wise saying, yeah, I've got better grip around the corners. Try and keep up with that. So this Mark 1 Fiesta, right stiffly sprung in these conditions. You think you want it to be a little bit softer given the circuit's pretty wet, but he's not afraid to go up the inside and challenge Daz Owen here. And front-wheel drive is a better. If it's not four-wheel drive, it's front-wheel drive that you want in the conditions. He's got past 1 at the Escorts. Got past 2 of them, in fact. He's going to get past the 3rd. He's past Malcolm Wise, past Daz Owen. He's got a little sideways on the exit through Church Corner. And look at the straight line speed of the Fiesta. He's going to pull level with Piers Grange. Piers may try to think his way of thinking, what on earth is that a Fiesta? Where did you come from? Brilliant stuff from this little Fiesta as they come down towards the complex at Rocket. And he might well outbrake a little bit. Piers Grange runs wide, and yet Near-Fighter will have the grip. He's gone raced past him. He's done it. Round the outside goes Jimmy Near-Fighter with a little Fiesta. Brilliant stuff from the Mark 1 car. You can tell it's got a crossflow engine, but Jimmy's absolutely giving this the absolute beans out there. Brilliant stuff from Jimmy. Great stuff as he brings this fantastic original Fiesta up the order as they come into the Siemens complex. Just looking at the timing screen just to give you an idea of where we are timing-wise. So Cockell still leads the way. New fastest lap of the race from Cockell. Shellswell is in 2nd place. And to give you an idea of how quick Dave Cockell is, particularly with his four-wheel drive advantage, his last lap was a 1 minute 41.059, a new fastest lap of the race. Everyone else is doing 1 minute 44s or slower. That's extraordinary pace. I think David Cockell was wondering maybe why he didn't have the biggest pace advantage. And he did open his bonnet at the end of race 1, so I wonder if it was something to do with the boost or just the engine power he had underneath him. But whatever it was that might have held him back power-wise, it certainly has come back to, it certainly has all returned and given him a maximum boost in these conditions. And again, Sid did say that in these greasy, in the greasy track surface means that four-wheel drive and also then front-wheel drive usually reigns supreme. So it's as though I think that Jimmy Near-Fighter, actually that's showing us, that's odd, that's showing us 24 car, that's showing us that's Ollie Allen, so, which is quite odd. The 24 car should be Demetrius Near-Fighter, but there's been a driver change, and Ollie Allen's now at the wheel of that car. I did wonder if it was, well, I looked at that and it didn't see on the time he said Allen, so I wonder if maybe he swapped cars, I'm not sure, but either that or it's a mistake on the timing screen. If it is Ollie Allen, then fair play to him. He's driving the wheels off his Mark 1 car, almost quite literally, as every time he goes into a corner, he just lifts the inside wheel at each corner, which just shows how well set up it is. Not even Malcolm Wise in a four-wheel drive Escort Cosworth with a full WRC body kit on it he can keep up with him, but even he can get past him. So it's either Ollie Allen or Jimmy Neophyte, whoever it is in that car, is driving the wheels off it pretty substantially and doing a grand job to hold on to where he is. He's currently sat by, it's showing us that car being in 4th place, but the traction there on the exit of Siemens might just be enough to allow the Malcolm Wise Escort to try and get back through again. And he has gone round the outside. He'll have used the outside line to full effect. Malcolm Wise, in what is always a very formidable car, that particular Escort Cosworth, is back in the mix. Behind them, Piers Grange is having a scrap with the Mark 1 Escort of Daz Owen. And John Edwards Parsons' Fiesta XR2 isn't too far away either. But the Malcolm Wise car with 2-litre Escort Cosworth doing its job, as it is for Dave Cockell, another new fast snap of the race. And the pace of that car is absolutely stunning. He's done a 1:39 in these conditions, 1:39.922. That is pretty much at least almost a full 5 seconds at least faster than everyone else on the circuit. So I think, provided he has no issues like he had at Donington, pretty much going to be more of the same. The Daz Owen car trying to squeeze up the inside here of Piers Grange, but Piers, of course, who won the first race, he's not going to have it that easy. Just saw Andy Pipe there parked right in the middle of the circuit, having one of the best views in town, as Daz Owen just hangs the tail out of that big rear of the Escort with the massive rear wing on the back, trying to give him some downforce. Didn't have that much going through church, but it's hanging the tail out as they come down or up the approach towards the Rocket Complex. 7 minutes to go. Still plenty of time for some good racing here between these cars. It's been spread out a little bit. Ashley Shellswell is 17 seconds behind the leader. He's only 2.5 ahead of Stuart Day. So Shellswell's car with the V6 engine in that Sierra XR4i is certainly serving quite well. There goes Grange and Owen. Oh, and again, just as Owen trying to get the car turned in, he has to take 2 bites at the apex there. Didn't quite work out, and so he's still staying on the back of Piers Grange in the Mark II Escort. Now, as for it's either this Mark 1 Fiesta with the Crossflow engine, whether it's Ollie Allen or Jimmy Neophyte at the wheel, it's whoever it is at the wheel is certainly not letting Malcolm Wise get away too much. He's definitely pushing as hard as he dares, and again just lifting that inside wheel through the corners. It's a brilliant sight to watch. It's a fantastic little car to have in the championship, and it's quite formidable. It's quite a bit of a sleeper in some cases. You look at the Mark 1 and think it's just a Mark 1 Escort, but with a Crossflow engine in it, it's quite a deadly machine, and quicker than you might think. So it looks as though it's going to be at the moment all three Escort Cosworths in the top 4, because we've got Dave Cockell's car that still leads the way with another new fast lap of the race. He's dominated that now. He's now I think at least 7 seconds quicker than everyone else. Pretty substantial pace here for Dave Cockell, 1:37.669 to hold on to the lead by some. Again, he's pulled away another about 3 seconds in that one move. So Shellswell is in 2nd place. Stuart Day is 3rd in the red Escort. 4th is now Malcolm Wise. 5th is now Ollie Allen. 6th is Piers Grange. 7th is Daz Owen. 8th is John Edwards Parton. 9th is Paul Neville. And 10th is Kevin Hadford ahead of Dave Barrett. There is Dave Cockell. Flames spitting out the side of this incredibly powerful and incredibly fast Ford Escort Cross. I think I've learned it's had something around about 700 horsepower at the wheel at their disposal. Pretty substantial power advantage for many people. Now, Piers Grange is under threat again from Daz Owen as they come back down towards the left-hander at Siemens. Good battle this. Piers Grange, who won the first race, is able to hold off Dave Cockell. And then there's John Edwards Parton, who is doing a decent job actually in 8th position, so not too bad for him. Looking at the who's wearing which class, it's a clear runaway class lead for Dave Cockell. There's Class A cars in the top 3 positions. It's Class C, the Ollie Allen. Well, I'm assuming it says it's Ollie Allen, so I'm going to go with Ollie Allen, who's in the Class C Fiesta, who's runaway Class C leader ahead of John Edwards Parton. Class B1's being led by Piers Grange, the Race 1 winner. And our only invitation class car, which is Daz Owen, is 7th place overall. Now, what we saw there was Paul Neville getting past the John Edwards Park next R2, which says to me that he's only back on form. He's also trying to recover, trying to get round the outside of Daz Owen, trying to lock up round the outside. He's got a little bit screwed. He almost goes to the side of Pierce Range. He tries to get the power down. The outside line, in theory, should give you more grip on these damp conditions, but Daz Owen's not finding it as they come back into the right-hander. And again, sideways. I suspect he's enjoying himself more than worrying about if he gets past or not, but you can tell he's really hammering it here at Anglesey on the damp parts. And that car must feel like an absolute, despite the rear wing, must feel like an absolute handful in these conditions. And the pair of them are now going to deal with a very resurgent Paul Neville, who is going to try and close in on them. So we've got technically 3 different specifications of Escort here. I think it's 2 Mark IIs against a Mark I here, which should be quite a fun fight. Always popular cars, these older Escorts, the Mark Is and Mark IIs, particularly because of their fantastic gung-ho rear-wheel drive driving style you have to apply to them. Of course, they were incredibly popular, of course, in the world of rallying, but on a circuit they're pretty handy too, and so you get some really well-sorted and wonderfully prepared old-school Escorts in the mix. And the 3 of them here on this circuit right now. There's Malcolm Wise ahead of what we believe to be Ollie Allen at the wheel of that car now, not Jimmy Neophyte, who appears to have allowed Jimmy Ollie to take the wheel. But this is our closest battle on track, arguably, between Piers Grange, Daz Owen and Paul Neville. And John Edwards Parton is quite a few seconds back in his XR2, but he looks like he's pretty much, well, I would say he'd be away going on the class lead, but he's not, because Ollie Allen has got that by quite some margin. So into turn 1 once again. I'm pretty sure on this performance, Daz Owen will gladly come back out to play with modified Fords. He'll be in the invitation class, but certainly he loves it like he's having a lot of fun here battling with us. I'm sure that Andy Pipe there, who's watching on the side of the road, will want to be in this battle too, but sadly the engine didn't want to play ball on Andy Pipe's Mark 1. Speaking of Mark 1s, the Daz Owen example was very sideways on the exit of the banking. He's going to run wide and get very sideways again. This is a brilliant car to watch as he comes out of Church Corner, but it's not going to get his, but while it might be flamboyant, it's not quick, because through goes Paul Neville. And you can always see him drifting slightly through the complex of school. Big lick of flame as he changes down the gears. Brilliant car to watch. There's our race leader, meanwhile, Dave Cockell, who might even come to lap them in a second. He's that quick. His last lap times have been 1:39 to 1:30. He's backed up a little bit from his fastest pace. He's on a 1:40 now, so I think he knows he's at least 4 or 5 seconds quicker than anyone else. There's a minute to go in this race, and I suspect he's just bringing it home for a fairly substantial victory, but his 2nd win of the season on a BROCC meeting with the modified Fords. And it will be the last lap, in fact, so this is one more time around for our final racing lap of the weekend, because it's been quite an amazing day's worth of action here, and a weekend's worth of action here at Anglesey. Great to be back here on the Welsh coast. And again, a big thank you to everyone that's made this possible, and to everyone in the Master MX-5 paddock, in the National Formula Fords, in Fun Cup yesterday for the 2 races and what have you, and everything else in between. Still, that battle goes on. Now, Paul Neville has got past Daz Owen, as we saw. Now he's on the tail of Piers Grange already. There's John Edwards Parton. Here is the race leader. Lights on as he heads down towards the left-hander at the bus stop for the final time. And replicating how he raced at Donington, he's doing the same here in the 2nd race at Anglesey. One word to describe that performance: dominant. Absolutely brilliant for Dave Cockell. He wins at a canter, and that's saying something, at Anglesey for the 2nd modified Ford Series race. A brilliant performance from David. That a weapon of a Ford Escort RS Cosworth. And now we wait, because the gap is quite substantial to wait for our 2nd place man. Last time by it was, it hasn't come through yet, so I can't give you an exact gap yet, but we're waiting now for Ashley Shellswell to come through. That's the Kevin Hadfield car. There's the Dave Barrett Fiesta. So the Puma's gone through, so it's Dave Barrett's Fiesta. They've gone through and taken the flag. Still waiting for the Ashley Shellswell car. It hasn't come through yet, so we're still waiting for it to come across the line and take the flag. There it is, out of the final corner. 2nd place for Ashley Shellswell. 1 place better than he went earlier on this afternoon. So congratulations to him for 2nd. There's Stuart Day. He'll be happy with a podium in his Ford Escort Cosworth. As we mentioned, when he comes through, there's Dave Cockell already down the back straight whilst the 3rd place man goes through. Now we wait for our rest of our field for 4th. There's Malcolm Wise to make it 3 Escort Cosworths in the top 4. Great effort from the four-wheel drive cars. I had a feeling they'd be the strong ones in these wet conditions. Then we had this fantastic battle because we've got Ollie Allen who come through next, and the mad little Mark 1 Fiesta. That's been one of the stars of the race so far today. Flashes the headlights. You should be pleased with that. That was a great little drive from that car. One of the cars of the weekend. I've enjoyed watching that car getting onto three wheels quite often. Now Paul Neville, meanwhile, will wiggle his way out of the final corner, having got past Piers Grange. So Paul Neville does recover after that first lap spin to take a great 6th place. 7th goes to Piers Grange, 8th goes to Daz Owen. And it'll be John Edwards Part that'll come through, I think, as the last car to cross the line, because everyone else, both Hadfield and Barrett, have done so already. So here's the last car to take the flag. John Edwards Parton comes across and will pick up 2nd place in Class C. So just to confirm the result then, it's Dave Cockell who wins by, check this margin out, 45 seconds at the end. That just shows how quick that car really is. So it's Dave Cockell takes the victory. Ashley Shelswell is 2nd, and Stuart Day and his Escort Cosworth is 3rd. It's then Malcolm Wise 4th. Ollie Allen in 5th position, Paul Neville is 6th, Piers Grange 7th, Daz Owen is 8th, John Edwards Parton 9th, and it's Kevin Hadfield's Puma in 10th, Dave Barrett's Fiesta in 11th, and sadly the car that we lost in the start of the race on the 12 cars that we had take the green flag was Andy Pipe's Ford Escort Mark 1 that sadly had an engine blow just a couple of minutes into the race. Well, into the paddock they'll go for our final top 3 interviews with Jamie Peters-Ennis. And of course, whilst we're doing that, I'm sure that before we wrap up, you'll probably hear from me just before we wrap up, just to close things off. But just a quick thank you to everyone that's been part of the meeting, and hope you've enjoyed the meeting. Apologies for any technical issues that we have had throughout the weekend. It's been a little bit temperamental at times, but of course we're always working to try and improve those. So for the next live stream we'll have at Seston, we should be all okay for that one. So let's head down for our final top 3. Dave Cockell has a bit of a routine check of the engine, so whilst he's doing that, we'll quickly hand down to Jamie Peters-Ennis. We'll be able to have a chat to our final top 3 of the weekend for the modified Fords in race number 2 down in Parc Ferme.
So our final race of the day comes to a close, which is the modified Ford Series, and our winner, Dave Cockell. That was more of a demonstration, wasn't it? I think four-wheel drive was the best conditions out there.
Yeah, definitely four-wheel drive. It was very greasy. I think most people made a good tyre choice looking at it, but yeah, four-wheel drive did help without a doubt.
Right, excellent, well done. 2nd place was Ashley Shelswell in his Sierra XR4. He's just having a quick chat, handshake with there. Keep your lid on for the moment. It's a bit of a quiet race, but it was that horrible greasy stage, and with your locked diff, it probably wasn't much fun either.
I wasn't expecting to come second. I'll tell you that now. I mean, still had a great race. First, what, was it 5 laps, 6, 7 laps maybe? Obviously, I know he's not four-wheel drive, he's only two-wheel drive. So, yeah, but apart from that, I was just trying to hold him off. But it was great fun. It was great fun.
Well done. That's Ashley Shelswell. 3rd place is Stuart Day in his Escort WRC, two-wheel drive. Stuart, P6 in race 1, P3 in race 2. Great way to end the day.
Can't grumble at that, even with a misfire. So didn't do too bad. First time at the circuit, so done really well.
And with a lot of power and greasy conditions, you're probably smiling and grimacing all the way around at the same time.
Definitely, I didn't even know I was third until they just told me.
Well done, thank you. So there's your top 3 for the final race of the day of the modified saloons. From down here in the pit lane and Parc Ferme, I've been Jamie Peters-Ennis, and it's good night from me.